What's up everybody, this is Unit E back with another tutorial. This time we're going to take a look at the performance pad modes of the Roland DJ-505 controller for Serato. I'll do a quick overview of each mode and how to access them, and then we'll go back and take a look at each one specifically and the specific functions within each one. First mode is Hot Cue. Hot Cue by default is the mode that is loaded when the machine is turned on. Pressing Hot Cue again will put you in flip mode. This is where any saved flips will be stored and can be activated. Shift and Hot Cue gives you cue loop mode. This is the one that is below the button. This turns all cue points into loops. Lengths are designated by your loop controls here. Next is roll. These are temporary loops that are only active as long as the pad is held. Beat divisions are measured through the pads from shortest to longest. Pressing roll a second time will give you saved loops. Any loops that you have active, you can save to the pads in this mode. Shift roll gives you slicer, as noted below the button. When all buttons are red with one blue, this is a continuous play slicer mode. Shift and roll again will give you slicer loop. This is where it will loop a 2-bar measure with the ability to slice up individual beats. Next is TR. This is the TR drum machine up above. This is the performance pads to play the instruments. There are 8 instruments for the DJ-505. The 808 only has 4. Pressing TR a second time will give you velocity play on your TR drum pads. Shift TR will give you pattern mode. In this mode, you can select and chain the patterns of the TRS drum machine. Next is sampler. This is where you can activate and deactivate samples that are loaded in the Serato SP8 sampler. Pressing sampler a second time will turn green and you will be in pitch play mode. This is only available if you have Serato pitch and time. Shift and sampler gives you sampler velocity mode, allowing you to play your samples in the Serato sampler with different velocities. Those are all the modes. Now let's go back and take a look at each one. The first mode available to you when turning on the machine is Hot Cue. Hot Cue is standard across all DJ controllers. Hot cues are points you set up within your song to jump between sections. Hot cues can be renamed by double-clicking in the title bar, naming it what you like, and hitting enter. Clicking and dragging the title will allow you to rearrange your cue point to wherever you like on your pads. Right-clicking the color brings up the color palette for you to choose whatever color you wish your pad to be. To delete a cue point, click the X on screen or hold Shift and hit the pad. The pad's light will turn off, signifying there is no cue point in that slot. To place a cue point, place the playhead marker in your song where you would like it and press the cue point. Next mode is Shift in Hot Cue. This will give you cue loop. This will turn all your hot cue points into loops that are designated by your loop controls or parameter buttons. On screen, when pressing either the half 2 times or the parameter plus minus, you can highlight the beat length you would like the loop to be. From there, simply hit each pad to play it in a loop. When it's time, press the next one. And you can play all your pads like you want with loops going. This is an easier way to layer multiple decks, drum machine and sampler, because in this mode you have this deck continuously in loops. You have no worry of running out of song. Tapping the flashing pad again that's looped shall turn the loop off and the song will play on. Next mode is Hot Cue a second time, and it will turn orange. This will bring in all your saved flips should you have any in a track. Flips are located on screen under the Cue Point tab. You will see your flip tab. To quickly create a flip, to edit out, let's say this breakdown, and give us either a radio edit or a shortened club edit or a quick mix, however you want to do it. Simply click to the point of the song right where the breakdown is, set it as is, make sure you are in hot cue mode, press the parameter minus button to arm your flip. As you see in the middle of the screen here, the record button is now flashing and your loop is activated. Since this is an edit, we are not looping, we will turn that off. And now that we have set this at this point, all we simply do is hit the cue point to jump to the end. Once you have it, hit parameter plus and it will jump you right back to where you were. Now to see if this works, let's get right to that breakdown. As simple as that. All I did was put my playhead where I wanted to jump from, and then I pressed the cue point that I wanted it to jump to. Once I've done that, I hit plus to end the recording and to have it turned on and active. This is not recommended to do live. This is simply prep work. Now that you have it and you want to save it, you can go to your mode and tap the pad you want to save it to, or on screen you could simply click the plus button in the list. You have 8 flips you can choose from and save. Just like cue points, a double click will allow you to rename. You can call it your edit and enter, and it will tell you if it is on or off. Up here will tell you when it is on or off. If you turn it off, you'll see that goes away. The song is in its original format, untouched. If you enter the club and you need to make sure you have the edit on, you will load the track, come over here and either click the edit, or while you are in flip mode, simply activate it. This will jump it to the end of the song, so I prefer to, if I'm at the beginning of the song and I'm going to let it play through, I will click the on button just to make sure the edit is on. Now that it's on, the song will play all the way through the beginning up to the breakdown and jump over it. But this is where you can activate or deactivate flips. Look further into YouTube videos on Serato flips. There's many, many great artists showing you awesome things to do with it. I highly recommend checking it out. That is all the functions under the Hot Cue button. Next, we'll move on to roll. A roll function is a temporary loop, only active as long as the button is held. Each button represents a beat division from lowest or shortest up to the longest. These are all designated by your loop section here on your deck. To adjust which pads play which length, simply press the minus or plus parameter buttons to shift your divisions left or right. Please note that while a roll is being active, the song continues to play underneath as if nothing is happening. So when it is let go, it will jump right to where the song is. Shift roll brings you into slicer mode. Red pads with one blue is a continuous play slice, and you will see that default is 2 measures broken down into single beat divisions. If you are to hold shift and press your parameter plus, you will double the length of your sliced area. We now have it to 4 measures as seen on screen in the red. Your beat divisions now are longer, as you can see in the highlighted section. This is a 2-beat division for each one, but you can press the parameter plus and minus to shorten that highlighted area. So you can have a 1 beat or a half. Like so. Get down to a quicker repeat. Hitting shift again will give you 8 measure slice up where you have a single measure on each. Play around with your parameters and shift parameters because you can bring it all the way down to 1 measure. Now you have half a measure, 2 beats here. You'll see this gets into faster rolls. Again, default is 2 measure with a 1 beat repeat. Shift and roll again will invert the colors from all blue to 1 red, and this puts you in a loop mode of slicing. If you have a favorite area you want to loop and you like to slice it up while mixing in another track, this is the mode you want to be in. All the other functions work the same with your parameters and shift parameters by lengthening the amount of loop that is sliceable and the slice lengths and repeats. Back to roll. Hitting roll a second time will bring you to saved loop mode. If you have any loops that you have saved, they will appear here. Your saved loops can be found under your flips on screen on the deck at the bottom. You have 8 saved loops you can keep. Each one will appear here. To create a saved loop, simply play a track. Make sure you have a set loop length you like. And when you have your loop playing, while playing, simply hit an empty slot and you will save and have the loop activated there. To jump to another loop instantly and play that loop, simply hold shift and press the button. Is jump to another Pressing it will only activate the other one, and it will not loop until it reaches that point if it is beyond. To jump immediately and have it active, hold shift. While the loop is active, you can extend or shorten. Hitting again removes it off of loop and allows your song to play again. Again, that is roll a second time for saved loop modes. A tip I would like to offer for the saved loops is if you run out of cue point areas, you can use your saved loops as extra cue points. In a sense, you would just simply have to hold shift, play the song, and then as soon as you hit it again to deactivate the loop, and you have essentially jumped to that cue point and had the song move on. This is good especially if you want beat cue points, and then in your hot cues you want to chop up or mess with a vocal or do finger drumming or something of the sort. It gives you almost two sources to play with cue points. That is all the roll functions on the roll button. Moving on from roll, the next button mode is TR. This allows the control of the TRS on the 505. It allows the voice playback on the pads. If you want to change kits and sample them while you're playing the pads, simply press shift and instrument, and that will take you to your kits, where the first 12 blue steps are your kits, the green are your sample banks. Now you are able to preview. You have your 808, 909. I think that's 606 and 707. And then there's combinations. The 808 long bass. And then a combination of all the different ones. We'll stick with number 7, whatever combo that is. So that is your TR mode for the pads. Hitting TR again for the second time will put you in a velocity. Simple. The harder you hit it, the harder it plays. A side note that for the TR velocity mode on the 505, when you go into instant record, you can record your velocity hits on the TR section. Pressing shift and hitting TR will turn it green and will select pattern mode. In this mode, any buttons lit up are patterns that you have active to play. It will be a representative of what is up above. So pattern 1, pattern 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And to get to the other ones, hold shift, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. If you want to play patterns sequentially, hold the first one and tap the subsequent patterns to playback. A note on the 505, you can tap in any order you like and it will play back in those orders. I like to have a 4-bar loop, so I will have 4 blank patterns up front that I can play into at any time into a set to create a loop. That is the TR button. Next we have this sampler button. The sampler button controls the sample cells of your Serato DJ program. Any cells that are populated will be lit up on the pads below. Using the parameter buttons plus and minus, you can scroll and shift through your banks of sample cells. Hitting them plays them. Pressing Shift in Sampler will give you velocity of the sampler, just like the TRS. The harder you hit, the louder it is. The only difference between this and the TR is this cannot be recorded at velocity. It is for simply playback. Again, you cannot record velocity on the sampler into the TRS sequencer. Now, back to sampler. Hitting it again, it will turn green and you will be in pitch play mode. This is where you will have your cue points and you can play your cue points at different pitches. This one I think we're on this cue point. So every time we hit one up above, it'll go up semitones. Back to normal and then down 4. This can be adjusted with your parameter minus and plus buttons. Pressing the minus from the center point will bring your 0 key to the top and allow you 7 semitones down. And back up. Pressing parameter plus once brings you back to center. One more time, we'll drop your 0 key down to the bottom here and give you 7 semitones up. Pressing will bring you back to center. Something to keep note of is the last semitone you have it on is how the song will play. Remember, it will continue on. It will not revert back to 0 when you get out of pitch play mode. So if you want to have it play at the original key it was intended, make sure you hit this one as the last one for your cue point. To select the cue point to use for pitch play, hold Shift and you will see all your pads light up for the cue points. Simply select the cue point you want, let go of Shift. You have your cue point. Hold Shift again, go to your next one. Even when switching cue points, you'll notice we're down below. I want to switch to that cue point. Still down below. This cue point, down below. It holds the key. The key will also be represented up in your screen on the deck. Up here. 1 semitone, 2, 3. Down 1, down 2, down 3, down 4. It also will tell you the key that many semitones down becomes. Helpful if you want to drop something down and play it at a lower pitch for a while to key match a song you were mixing with, and then to bring it back up to key on a breakdown using your cue selection. You'll be able to bring it back at its key at your choice. So that is pitch play. So those are all the modes for the DJ-505 with a performance pad. If you have any questions about any of these modes and would like to know a little more, please leave a comment below and I'll answer the best I can. If you're enjoying these and the other videos I've been doing, I'd always appreciate a subscribe and a like on the video. It encourages me to keep it going. And as always, thanks for watching.